Well, we're really talking about those very simple things that most people will be familiar with buying for themselves, really. So paracetamol, ibuprofen, those sort of pain-killing things, short courses of antihistamines when you get a bit of hay fever, some creams and moisturisers, treatments for dandruff, treatments for threadworms, things that the majority of people probably wouldn't go to their doctor about anyway. They'd probably talk to their pharmacist, or they would go and buy themselves. The cost of medicines in the NHS is going up about 5% a year. We spend somewhere around 17–18 billion pounds on medicines in the UK. A lot of those medicines are vitally important for saving lives, keeping people healthy, keeping people well. Interestingly, the growth in the cost of the medicines is coming from the hospital sector as we get the pharmaceutical companies develop more sophisticated and better treatments for cancer, for rheumatoid arthritis, for chronic bowel disease, all sorts of complicated conditions. And we have to find that money to pay for those medicines. And we know that issuing prescriptions for these simple medicines over the counter is a very expensive way of doing it. There's a lot of on-cost, as they're called, extra costs in having the doctor's time and the pharmacist's time, the processing of prescription, there's a fee paid for each prescription that's issued. So there's a lot of extra cost added to getting something like some paracetamol or an antihistamine or an anti-dandruff shampoo or a bit of skin moisturiser. So it doesn't seem a very sensible way of managing the whole medicines budget to be spending lots of money on those simple treatments when we really want to be spending the money on the treatments that are going to make a big difference to people's lives and, in some cases, save people's lives. There will be exceptions because some of these treatments are for long-term problems, and we wouldn't expect people with long-term problems to have to pay for these on a regular basis. And then there will be individual exceptions. People will have individual circumstances and individual situations, which means they need these medicines. Obviously, their doctor will take this into account. The vast majority of people will not notice any change at all, because as I say, most people, for these sort of simple medicines we're talking about, or the supplements, the very straightforward, cheap things that we're talking about, people will have been used to going to the pharmacy or the supermarket and getting these things themselves anyway. There will be a number of people who may find this difficult, and of course we will look very carefully at how the policy rolls out and how this works out. We are talking about cheap products. These things, there's quite a healthy competition in the pricing. We are hoping to get the changes introduced at the beginning of the summer. So starting from the end of May, there is obviously quite a lot of work to do in making sure that everybody is properly informed and understands what's going to happen. We need to make sure all the right information is available in all the new formats and ways that we can communicate with people. We don't want this to be a surprise to anybody. We're not springing it at anybody. We certainly want all the GPs, pharmacists and outlets to understand what's going on.